Established in the early 1900s, Baguio City sits in the mountainous regions of the Cordillera north of Luzon. The original layout of the urban plan by Daniel Burnham was set to accommodate 20,000 residents. In the census of 2015, the current population of this compact mountain city is 345,366. That's roughly 1,600% increase. Oops, where are my manners? Hey guys, my name is Michelle. I am not a scientist. I'm just a whining commuter. In a small city with limited road network and space such as Baguio, I want to take this opportunity to scratch the surface. Baguio's total road network is a mere 315.9 kilometers. From architect Rafael Chan's thesis in 2008, there are about 4,347 jeepneys, about 8,000 taxis including colorum, and around 32,000 registered private vehicles. So think about that volume. Now, to accommodate at least 70% of the city's population, plus about 65% of these machines, to move stress-free, the CBD should have at least 1,715,324 square meters of road network, but it only has a mere 61,500 square meters. This means that in 1 square meter, you gotta fit in 5 people, 38% private cars, 6% Jeep, 6% taxi, and 3% motorbikes. Wow, this tells us that we do have a problem with carrying capacity. Now, bearing in mind the carrying capacity problem, space should be allocated for people and not cars. According to Vicente Torres, the Director General of PTV Group Latin America, people move like water. They take the shortest route possible. Cars just cannot maneuver the way we can. There is a pending proposal to build a parking infrastructure within the CBD. But then, without regulating the volume of vehicles, it will only lead to, more traffic. And not just that. Let's talk about GHG, or the greenhouse gas emission. Think about a 5-story parking infrastructure that can accommodate 100 cars per floor in a place like, for example, the Ganza parking lot next to the Melvin Jones. Using the greenhouse gas emission calculator found at the www.epa.gov website, if an average car covered 1.7 kilometers, it says there that car would exhaust 0.0005 ton of GHG. Now, say a petrol-fed medium car running at 7.5 liters per 100 kilometer will exhaust that much, 0.0005 ton of GHG. Now you multiply that by 500 cars per hour, and this parking infrastructure operates 10 hours per day. Now let's say conservatively, it's like that 80% of the week. You're looking at the infrastructure alone already contributes to 2 tons of GHG per day, or 730 tons per year. Now that plus 70% of registered machines plying the CBD every day. So let's say conservatively around 31,043 machines. Now what if they exhaust conservatively 0.0005 GHG per vehicle per day? That is 15 tons per day, plus 2 tons from the parking infrastructure. All in all, in a year, that is about 6,205 tons of GHG from Baguio CBD alone at an average. Now, say we add another parking infrastructure, twice the Ganza's capacity, will mean an added 4 tons per day. then all in all, that leads to 7,665 tons of GHG per year. And this does not include tourist season. There's another aspect here, and well, scientists call it the urban heat island effect. This scenario can also dramatically increase the index of the CBD, making it warmer and humid than it already is. But like I said, I'm not a scientist, so I should probably stop here. But I am sure your body will tell you if the environment is pleasant or not. A study about Baguio City's urban streets was conducted by Mary Ann Alabanza Akers of Morgan State University in Maryland, USA. The study concluded that, and I quote, "The years are numbered for struggling streets in downtown Baguio. The city's heart will experience a seizure if nothing is done at this point to mitigate the negative effects of air pollution and traffic or pedestrian congestion. The city that Daniel Burnham once conceived as a pleasant resort town for healing and rejuvenation will lose its vitality. It is very ill right now unless the local officials commit to revitalizing the most important district in the city. Baguio's downtown will eventually die. It is on the verge of doing so right now." Now, think of all that tons of GHG. What does this mean to people's health? Even if the proposed parking infrastructure accommodate, say, 500 cars per hour, multiply that to 10 hours of operation, charging at 40 pesos per hour. So you're looking at about 200,000 pesos of revenue per day, or in a year, that's about 73 million pesos. But this does not sound viable if we consider the health cost. How many people will suffer pulmonary infections eventually? We have to value health more than money here, people. But we will always have an attachment for cars. The dynamics of sustainable urban mobility promotes inclusive mobility. And so strategic parking infrastructure at the Ganza parking lot and the old site of the public library are considered. These two most ideal locations must have a smart system, like what the big mall is doing. Sensor lights to signal drivers if there is an available space. This way cars will not aimlessly move around. Or an online booking app system to make it more efficient. The traffic management plan has to be in place as well. A study on the jeepney service operation and demand in Baguio City conducted by Ranosa, Filoni, and De Guzman of De La Salle University and SLU recommended to identify and establish at least 2 to 3 jeepney stations. An in-depth study of the supply and demand of jeepney ridership can be used as reference to rationalize trunkline stations. There has to be a creation of a technical quasi-public-private entity that can be referred to as the Metro Blisti Development Authority, sort of like the MMDA, to manage the traffic schemes, and if there will be a financing program for the PUVs, then this institution can take charge. We can also identify taxi stations and put together an on-call taxi schemes with operators and educational institutions, business owners like retail, food, and services, wherein people can just book in if they need a taxi. Parking premiums during weekends and holidays should also be a must. And allocate drop-off points, a maximum of 5-minute parking only. Part-time pedestrianization of Session Road, strengthen the anti-smoke belching laws, and, use citizen policing along arterial roads wherein violators that are being reported may risk disqualification of license renewals and or vehicle registrations altogether. The merit and demerit system. If all are considered, the new scenario, even with 2 parking infrastructure with the capacity of 1,500 cars, would be From 30,940 vehicles plying, we're talking about the volume, a mix of PUJs, PUVs, and private vehicles, the program suggested can potentially be reduced as it prods people to bring their cars with purpose over convenience and status symbol. Decongested streets, because the ones plying are mostly PUVs like jeepneys, on-call taxis, and private vehicles, but are queuing to park and leave more effectively, or else they deal with expensive parking charges. A significant reduction of GHG emission and UHI index, cleaner air, and lessened noise pollution, healthy and happy commuters. Once again, the parking infrastructure will do more harm than good if the underlying status quo of vehicle volume, obsolete traffic management scheme, and poor implementation of city ordinances are not addressed. The cooperation and support of the host community is highly required for a destination to flourish, and this is when the locals' quality of life is compromised as an implication, because the trade-off of accommodating more people is a factor to achieve a certain level of hospitability. As an example, locals will have to endure traffic when tourist season comes, and this disrupts their daily commute to work, which severely decrease their level of productivity. That's it for me today. Thanks for watching.